All right, morning. I'm allowed to drink orange juice out of the jug because I live alone and no one comes to visit me. Morning, Zion. Morning, Lucas. Morning, Crystal. Morning, Erica. Hey, Owen. Jared, good morning as well. Kathleen, good morning. Smiley face. Yuli, hello. Just gonna pour the liquid gold here as we're logging in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Still got some left. All right, let's hit this attendance up. All right, I had Jared. Sorry, where is that, Esby? You're probably right. Liquid gold probably is honey. Jared's here. SJ's here. I just saw him pop in. Sadie is here. Let's do it from the bottom up. Kendra is here. She does not have a dream breakfast, but that's okay. You guys should be eating breakfast. Yuli and Ruth and Crystal are all here. Ruth, Crystal, Yuli. Sam's here. Kathleen is there. I should be doing this in order. This is messing with my brain. Omelet, Sam. Nice. What do you put in your omelet, Sam? Burgers. Kathleen, there's no way burgers. Hey, Larissa, good morning. Lots of stuff. Bacon, onions, peppers, cheese. That sounds pretty good. Bet you don't put eggs in your omelet, though. That would just be crazy, dude. So I have not seen Ben. I did see Zion. He's the first one here. I should have marked him. Madison, Katrin, and possibly Teddy as well. So Teddy, Katrin, Maddie. Oh, there's Katrin. Never mind. She was right in the middle of the omelet chat. Teddy's here. Awesome. So just missing Maddie and Ben possibly. Okay. All right. Cool. So we did a couple questions. I'm not hooked into my second monitor at the moment, so that's going to make it hard for me to see. Okie dokie. I forget exactly the questions that I gave you guys for homework, but can you look that up quickly? I'm gonna check it with y'all. So just see if we can do any of those. I'll just just getting myself all set up here. Hopefully you guys can still see me like that. Oops. Perfect. Perfect. Anything without scrambled eggs? Okay, sorry. I'm opening up the textbook right now to see what we did. This would have been 6-1, I believe. Yeah. Dang, my computer is being possessed at the moment. Here we go. Alrighty, sorry. Was not behaving at all. Reminding myself what questions we did. I was asking you guys to do page 326, numbers 1 to 4. So I was asking you to look at these ones there. Were there any questions about any of those from the homework from numbers 1 to 4? And then I believe I was saying, please indicate the type of correlation for 2, 3, and 4. Hey, Benny, welcome, bud. I'll fix you here. You did that on paper. All right, no worries. What am I doing? I was just grabbing. There was a reason that I wanted to sit up for a sec. I think I'm just going crazy. Oh, I was going to grab my water bottle. Sorry, one sec. Where's this? All right. Yeah, we're all going crazy. Oh, Kathleen says 2. Sorry. There's random numbers in here, and the -1 makes me confused. But we want to look at 2. So let's see. What did 2 look like? The scatter plot shows the sales of a bottle of water at a refreshment booth at the Canadian National Exhibition in Toronto. Sorry, my nose is like a faucet. Different days during a heat wave, whatever. So number of water bottles based on the temperature. And you think the hotter it would be, the more water bottles they would sell, right? And that kind of is what the trend is here. You see that. For what information does point A represent? What information does point B represent? So you're mostly just like kind of interpreting. But A here, right? That's at, what is that? 30 degrees Celsius. That's pretty darn hot. Man, I can't believe it went up to like almost 40. That's crazy. So 30. Over here, it was about 3. What is the scale? It goes up by 25, right? 25, 50, 70. So it goes up by 25. So 375. That was their maximum number of water bottles, right? That's the highest water bottles total sales, because that's what this graph cares about, right? That's their point. So at 30 degrees, that was their maximum sales. That's what I would say. And then it says, what does point B represent? Well, point B represents the least amount of sales. It also represents the coldest day, right? This is, I think it's an outdoor. Oh no, it's just a refreshment booth. But anyways, this is like at like 22.5, whatever. It goes up by 2.5. So whatever it is, it's just the real thing that they're asking is that B represents the least amount of water bottles that they sold. So A is the most and B is the least. And now it doesn't look like A is like B is the coldest day as well, but A is technically not the hottest day. It's an outlier, right? it's kind of away from the trend. I would say our trend is going up through here. That would be through the most dots. We'll talk about that more today. But definitely an outlier. So what does the scatter plot show about the relationship between water sales and temperature? Well, if I was to draw, now I don't have the ruler because this is just a PDF document, so I can't use my OneNote ruler. But if I was to take a ruler, I would draw it up through here. And I would say the hotter it gets, the more water bottles that we sell. And that's the trend, right? There's a positive, right, correlation. It is weak. And there's maybe, 3 outliers of water bottle sales on like random days. There's more so that they sold more randomly than the trend, right? I'd say the trend goes through here. So they randomly sold more, which is a good thing. There were no random bad days down here where it was really hot and they didn't sell any water bottles. That would have been bad. So there's a positive, weak, linear correlation if we're using all of our words. So hopefully you're able to describe the correlation like we did. Looks like number 3 is a negative positive correlation that is linear. And I would say it's pretty strong, right? Because I could make a line go through 4 of those dots and only one of them would be disappeared. So we're going to look at this one actually more specifically today and actually go through and draw a line and come up with an equation for something like this as well in our note. Okay, y'all cool? Can we skedaddle and move it? Yeah, no problem, Kathleen. I just have one Teams message, and I don't remember if this is from before the class or from you guys, but I just want to uncheck it, you know what I mean? Just so I can move on and say, oh, we're good. Okay. Cool. So if you guys if you could take out your OneNotes. Again, we're going to look at this tractor example as well and just kind of dissect it a little bit more. You can see as soon as we pop into the note, there is an example of that tractor, but we are going to get ourselves like the equation for it, like the y equals mx plus b, where you weren't asked to do that and weren't really asked to predict as many things. You were more like, what's the independent variable? What's the dependent variable? What's the correlation type? Is it linear? Is it negative? Is it strong or weak? Or yeah, I'll shut up. But you get the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at lines of best fit today, and then you can see if you're looking over on my left side here, there's also one for curves of best fit. So today we're just doing lines, and then tomorrow, which is it Friday tomorrow? This week is flying. I freaking love that. Does it feel like it's going fast? Yeah, but tomorrow's a curve. This is the last day on lines, Owen. Don't worry, buddy. This is the last. Look at it. Then you can see distance, time, and hypothesis, and like those things, right? It's not the same. It's all good. Okay. Sorry, somebody just sent me a message. I have 6.2, but the pages aren't showing up in my OneNote, and I tried syncing, but it didn't work. Could you send me another copy? Absolutely, I can. Let's do that. Let's go. Bingo. Where are you? Where are you? Weird. I see the pages, but I'm going to send another one. And then I'll also just randomly drop this in the collaboration space, I guess, where things in grade 9 classrooms go to die. Because you little hooligans will erase each other's work, draw terrible things. Anyways, that's just not a fun place for grade 9s. Okay. Yeah, I think I kind of lied to you guys before. I thought lines were done, right? Because I was like, oh yeah, I remember this unit's like kind of on like scatter plots, and it's not. But then we're doing lines of best fit. I should say straight objects of best fit or something like that. Anyways, it sounds weird. So mine is still currently syncing, Erica. So oh, never mind, it's done. Hopefully you get that in there. Oh, sorry. Anyways, hopefully you get yours in there, and I'm able to deal with that quickly. But we'll see how she goes. Okay, so similar example to yesterday. So basically, how do you draw a line of best fit? Well, there's two rules, and none of you, because it's not perfect, right? If I asked all of us right now to draw a line on this, none of us are going to be the exact same. Well, that's maybe not true. A lot of us would be different though, right? Some of you would try and connect these two dots, like the first and last one, and maybe some of you would try and put it through like all of them or whatever. So we try to get rules so that way when we're predicting things, more people are predicting them together. It's not just like, make the best line you can. So here's the rules in terms of making the best line you can. So number one, the most important thing, now it doesn't always work out that you can follow both 1 and 2. So this is kind of like the order. So put your ruler over top of as many points as you possibly can, so that it follows the same trend, right? So I would try to place my ruler over as many points as possible. And then 2, hopefully, when you draw your line, there's as many points, right? Equal points above and below the line, just like we talked about yesterday. But your first priority is get it through as many as possible. So I want to talk about this in terms of a trend first and what makes more sense. So to me, if I take my ruler out right now and I was to situate it through as many points as possible, well, if I tried to get equal above and below, first of all, there's an odd number. So if I tried to put it like, it's going to be somewhere like that. Well, I'm not going through any of the points. And it really, that first point is throwing off my whole curve. And here's why that doesn't really make sense. We want to go through as many points as possible first. And that is, right, more so through, I'm trying to get it, right there, right? I pretty well get all 4 points, but then that other one is very far off. It's like an outlier. And that's okay to have outliers. You want to see that you get as many as possible. If I didn't predict this like as a trend right now, then I wouldn't have known that as an outlier. So why does that kind of make sense as an outlier? Well, think about it like this. This is the value of something. Think about it like your guys' iPhones. Probably a lot of you have not bought the iPhone from brand new. A lot of you probably buy it through like a cell phone carrier, or your parents are just buying it in general anyways. But cell phones and cars, they kind of work a similar way, where if you buy the car brand new, it's crazy expensive. So this is the value of a tractor. So you can think car, tractor, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how much the tractor was new. It doesn't actually tell us, but we could maybe do a prediction with our line here. But either way, you could see that clearly our tractor at the start was worth, probably more than it was after year 2, right? So it'd be up here somewhere. So our line doesn't do it perfectly, but it does predict a trend in the data, and that's what's more important. So cars, or tractors, they'll lose their value quickly, right, at the start. And then things start to kind of peter off, and then there's more of a trend. But that first year after the iPhone comes out, it drops significantly. And then after a while, it's like, okay, well, we got to get cost for the phone, so it's not going to go too far down. We want to lose too much money. But the next thing comes out, and that drives the car or the tractor's value or whatever down. Because as soon as it's labeled used, its value drops quite a bit. So this is an outlier because it drops more so that first or second year. In this case, it's the second or third year. And then I'm starting to see a trend here. So I'm following the first rule here by getting as many points through it as possible, right? I get all 4 out of 5. And I don't have as many points above and below the line, but that's literally not possible in any scenario, right? There's no way, unless you go like this, you go through 1 point, then you get 2 above and 2 below, but that's not what you want, right? That doesn't predict the trend. So you more so try and get your line through as many points as possible first. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job here. As many points as possible first, and then what you would do is try to maybe maneuver it a little bit to get as many above and below. So let's just connect this one here. Do as best as you can. Again, it doesn't have to be the exact same as mine. I'm just trying to get it so it goes through at least those first and last two nicely. Nice, I think that's going to be pretty good. All right, so I'm going to connect my line. I would suggest, I don't know, I'm going to use a lighter one here. Just so you guys can still see the dots through it when you're trying to draw your own. And it is a trend, so I'm going to put an arrow on it. Right, we should technically have arrows on both ends. Although this one technically doesn't really need it because you can't go negative time. So it doesn't keep going to negative. So that was part A. It was drawing the line of best fit. And now I want us to come up with the equation of best fit. Right, so we're going to go and figure out like y equals mx plus b, yeah. And we'll do that from here. So start with y equals mx plus b. Easiest thing here, for me, I'm going to use red to get this. Easiest place to start up here would be our b, right? Our y-intercept is b. So for me, I would say, you know, if this goes up by 5,000, let's call that like, it'd be easiest if we called that 40,000, wouldn't it? But maybe 39. Let's just call it 40. Let's just make my dot a little bit bigger to Hey, look it, guys. It went right through 40. Just to make our numbers nicer for ourselves, right? I know you guys probably hate me for that. But that's going to say B is equal to 40,000. Again, because it's a line of best fit and it's not perfect to begin with, you know, your numbers, they can be rounded a little bit because it's not a perfect prediction. Clearly that B doesn't really make sense anyways, right? It's real life. It doesn't always make sense because there's no way when you bought the tractor it was worth $40,000 at the start and then it like somehow got more expensive and then less expensive. Like technically it probably started higher, but this is us predicting with a line of best fit. It's not going to be perfect. Sorry, I need to blow my nose again. And now we want to get the slope. So I wonder if you guys try on your own, see if you can maybe calculate the slope here. Thinking about maybe trying to find two nice points, that sort of thing. Remember we talk about trying to find two nice points. Sorry, I'm going to blow my nose. Get rid of that sucker. I believe in you. See if you can get the slope. It should be negative, right? Should be negative. So for that slope, don't just count the blocks, count the scale, right? We want to actually know the scale because this is going down thousands, right? Whereas this one's only going down ones. So it might go like down to over 3-ish. It's hard to say depending on your points, right? Yeah, ish. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty good actually, Jared, down to over 3-ish. Especially at the start here, right? Down to over 3, down to over a little bit more than 3, but basically, right? Down to over 3. Oh, wait, that's 4. Yeah. I would try and find two perfectly nice points, and that'll be our best predictor. This one to me looks like a really nice point. And I know we called that other one a nice point, but probably the next point is like right here. So let's just see, because it'll be the same fraction, right? This goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, and this goes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would say something like 4 over 7, which is very close to the 2 over 3, because that would have been 4 over 6, right? But what is this actually going down? So it actually goes down 35,000 to 25,000. That actually is minus 10,000. Right? It goes down from 35 to 25, it goes down 10,000. So that's our rise. And then our run is, it goes 7 blocks, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 blocks, but how many is that actually? So 2 is 1, right? So this would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 3.5 long. Because basically there's 2 blocks every one. So when I counted 7 blocks, right, that's really only, because each 1, 2, 3 and half, right? 3.5 blocks. So our rise over run, in this case, I'm going to write it in red again. I don't know why, but anyways, our slope is down 10,000. And again, so we look at Jared's when he said down 2 over 3. Jared, like I said before, how it's a prediction, I'd allow what you said, okay, on a test or something like that or some assignment. That'd be totally fine because you're close enough because we're just predicting, right? My slope is a little bit different than yours, but in general, it's close enough. Now, you just have to make sure that you figure out what down 2 blocks is. And down 2 blocks looks like it goes down 5,000. And then over 3 would be 3 blocks is 1.5 instead of my 3.5, right? So minus 10,000 over 3.5. Now what I would do here is I'd probably try my best to simplify that a little bit. We could multiply the top and bottom by 10, so it's 100,000 over 35, and I don't think that's going to divide nicely, but we could at least simplify that a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to move this decimal place over 1. So that's really, if I multiply the top and bottom by 10, it's minus 100, because we don't like decimals and fractions. It's like having, I don't know, something weird, over 35. Now I probably could reduce that, right? If we divide the top and bottom by, well, at least 5. I know 5 goes into both of those nicely. I just wonder if I can grab my calculator and do some more magic. I don't know where my calculator is, team. Is 5 the biggest we're going to get? Yeah, Zion divided 100,000 by 35, I assume. Oopsies. Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't fit in nice, right? I would keep your slope like this. It's just a little bit better to have it as a nice fraction. So let's just divide it by 5 then. So what's 100,000 divided by 5? It's 20,000, right? So I'm going to divide both of them by 5 just so I can, I know it sounds weird. You're like, oh, you just divided by 5 after you multiply by 10. I'm just trying to get a nice number, right? And so Sam's totally right. Our slope is going to be negative 20,000 over 7. So what does that really mean? That really means, right, it's a rise over run. So when we actually think about that, that means that our tractor's value, because that's the rise, right? It's going down $20,000 every 7, and remember it's years. 7 years. So we'd have minus $20,000 per 7 years. So that's kind of what our slope means, is that every 7 years, the tractor's value goes down $20,000. Which ain't that bad, actually. It's not bad at all. That means it's going to last a long time, hopefully. And that number that Zion got earlier, that 2,857, when he just straight up divided it, that's how much it goes down by each year. Because he just straight up divided these numbers. So it's like how many dollars per 1 year. If you just divide it, it just gives you that nasty decimal. Like if you could go, okay, this divided by 7 and this divided by 7, and it'd be this number, which is Zion's negative 2,857 over 1 year. So that's like how much it goes down per year, which is kind of a more useful number in real life. But at least we don't have any, decimals. We don't have to round and stuff like that. And when we graph, if we were to graph this again on some other thing, it's helpful. So what is our equation in the end? Remember we got, I was going to use the black pen here. Okay, maybe I'm not. Okay, so y equals, what's your slope? It's negative 20,000 over 7. Plus b, and b was 40,000. Okay, so that is my equation. I'm going to let you guys write that. I'm just going to pause for a second there. Give me a thumbs up in chat when you are ready to rock. Larissa's good. Oops, I got a couple of Teams messages. I'm so popular. I just got to update my attendance. Already been updated. All right, Zion is. Hope that's recycling, Zion. Okay, so where are we at? Oops, not print full screen. The value after 6 years. Okay, so if I asked you guys whether this is interpolation or extrapolation, hopefully you would say interpolation, because we're looking for 6 years. So I could do a couple different things. I could either use my equation or I could use my line, right? It doesn't really matter. So if I'm looking up here, I would say at 6 years, over, and we'd have about, right, 6 years, we'd have about, between 20 and 25,000, and this is 22 and a half, so I'd say 22,000-ish. The other way to predict this exactly is to put it into your equation, right? Years, that's our x value. So let's say x is equal to 6. So what I do is I put this in. I'd say our y value, which is the value of the tractor, right? Y is the, if we look at our graph here, I'm trying to get my mouse. Y is the value, x is the years. So our y value is equal to negative 20,000 over 7 times x is 6 plus 40,000. Now, if you type this into your calculator, let me just grab mine. I hate when it goes on the other screen. So I would type, I'd have to use brackets here, and I'd say 20,000, and that's negative, divided by 7, and my brackets, times 6, and then I'd say plus 40,000, and that's going to be equal to $22,857.14. So somewhere along there. So that would be our more accurate prediction-ish. Either way is totally fine, because both of them we fudged the numbers on the B here, so it's a little off from what our line actually looks like, right? But I would say you either use this 22,857. And or you would use this predictor here where I would say it's just a little shy of 2250, like 2200 or something like that. So either one. I'm going to use my calculated one because we spent all that effort doing it. So 22,857.14. $22,857.14. What's the value of a new tractor? Well, that would be when X is 0 in our equation, right? So if instead here X was 0, this whole thing would be 0 and we'd just be left with $40,000. Now, obviously that's not exactly true because, you know, after 2 years, right, the tractor's value was like $42,000. So it definitely wasn't $40,000 to start with. It's just what our data trend predicts. It's our best chance of doing that. And then what would be the approximate years for the value of a tractor to be worth $15,000? So there's a couple ways you could do that. You would want to know, like, a different possible way is to go, okay, well, our value is 15,000. So that means our Y is 15,000. And that's equal to your negative 20,000 over 7x plus 40,000, right? And then basically what you could do, you would solve for x, right? So you'd take the 40,000, you'd subtract both sides, then you'd divide this number, or what we could do is look for 15,000 on here, and this will be a lot easier, right? Look for 15,000 and go across. Looks like it's gonna be right here, and that's like right every 2 ticks is a year. So this is 8.5 years, 8.5 years, right in there. And if you solved that, you might have got something a little bit different, but around there, 8.5 years. Cool. But again, you could have solved with this other way here, and that would have been fine too. I'm just going to leave that up there for a sec because I know a couple of you are probably looking to write that down. I'm going to eat a couple grapes. Okay. Next one. All right, this one's a little bit tougher because we've got Rita and Erica, and they're making bead jewelry. Yes, Maddie, it is. Their monthly income for 10 consecutive months is shown in the table. So it's 10 months in a row. And you can see their income come through there, and we're going to get some sort of thing for them. So the hardest part, this will be quick. We'll do this one a lot faster, okay? I promise. That one took a little bit longer because there's more questions at the bottom, but this one won't be so bad. The hardest part is the line of best fit. So here, I'd grab out my ruler. And remember, our first priority is getting it through as many points as possible. So actually what I'd want you guys to do is I'm going to get you to do your own first, draw your line first, and then we'll see how similar our lines are, and we can all come up with our own equation and do yours separately than mine. But let's see. You guys try this on your own without me. Don't even look at mine because I'm going to do mine right now while you guys are doing your own. Do your own, and it's totally okay to be different. But just remember the first rule, try and get it through as many points as possible first. Second rule, try and balance out the number on the top and bottom. Whoever gets it through the most points wins. You win nothing, but you win. So that was like the most difficult thing ever. I'm going to draw mine. Let's see how you dorks did. So if I look, mine goes through 4 dots. Okay, we'll say 3. It goes through 3 perfectly. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4 above, and 1, 2, 3 below. Yeah, science says just make a really thick line. Fair enough, to be honest. Yeah, I guess if you just make a thicker line, then it just goes through all of them, depending. And I would have got more if I'd used a thicker one for sure. But I think that's a pretty good trend that I just did there, right? I do get most of my dots. I'd say if Zion's right, then we would have a couple more on here, right? If we were allowed to use a thicker one. But I get at least 1, 2, 3 right through. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 above and 3 below. Does anyone think they did a better job than me? And it's totally fine to think you did. Or anyone want me to go look at theirs and see, did you get through more points than me? Possibly. Maybe 1 through... No, I don't think so. You got 4 points as well, Larissa. I think I mostly just got 3, but maybe we could say 4. I don't know. It's hard to say. Different line. Oh, okay, right on. So I want you to do your own line, your own points here. That is totally fine. It says I'm not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth connection. Hopefully you guys are. One sec. I think I'm losing myself here. Checking my... I think it says I'm given a good connection. YouTube doesn't seem to be liking me. Do you guys see me okay? Okay, Sam says I'm good still. Sorry about that. I don't know why. YouTube's giving me a weird error there, but we'll see how it goes. So here, this one is a bit tricky. Thanks, Erica. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Because I would say the most difficult thing about this one would be our y-intercept. Because before that was easy, right? But our y-intercept here is a little bit hard. What I would probably do is I'd take your ruler, and we're just going to need to extend it a little, eh? Because our y-intercept is going to be a bit negative, at least to get the line. Like, obviously, what is the y value again? It's her income. So she can't earn negative, but we do want to get an actual y-intercept. So I am going to just extend this a little bit and then extend my line and see what happens. So I'm going to draw that further. Whoa. Okay. My whole thing crashed weird. I think we're good there. And then I'm going to extend my gray line. Along to get... Whoa. Team. Flashy, flashy. Okay, clearly it's not happy with me right now. Come on, ruler. Be my friend. Okay, this thing's a little possessed right now. In fact, it's frozen. Okay, I'm going to close that down. Sorry about that. She's loading. OneNote, I love you. How about you load? There you are. All right, so sorry about that, but there you go. Now you see my line go all the way down, and then I just need to predict both possessed and frozen. So you're kind of like Elsa. Down here, if I'm looking, it looks like, holy, this scale is awful. Look at that. Each of these are, what is that, 20, 20, 20. But this is like not nearly the same length, so that's really dumb. But if I look at this, okay, it just did the same thing again. That's about the same as this. So I'd say down here should be about negative 20. What is happening with OneNote? My goodness. Hopefully you guys are still with me here. My B value should be at minus 20. Wowza. To me, it looks like minus 20 at least. Every time I write on the screen, yeah. I don't know why it's doing that. Might have to restart my computer in a minute, but either way, you get your B. And then what I would do, I'm just going to explain this, guys, and we'll end it here because I clearly can't figure this out. But to get your slope, because this doesn't have a grid line, what you need to do is you need to come up with 2 points because it's really hard to see the slope, right, at perfect points. So you use your approximate points. So I'd say, and this is going to go crazy, just bear with me. It's going to make me mad too, I know. But I'm going to label 2 points on here. I'm going to label this one as, this is the point 2, and its y value I'd say is 25. Come back. Okay, so that point right there is 225. Waiting for it to be alive. All right, good. And then I'd take another nice point, and I'd say, let's see, I think it was ever since I started using this darn ruler. 90. Okay, so this one is at 6, right? So its x value is 6, and its y value is, what is that, 90? 690. Okay. Again, sorry about that. But it'll be 690. So we should be able to now, thinking about our x1, y1, I would say this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Sorry, I know the flashing is crazy. You should be able to get your slope now for your y equals mx plus b, right? On the numerator, you're going to do y2 minus y1. I'm going to write it out. I might as well, right? So we're doing y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, and that is 90 minus 25 over 6 minus 2. I'm going to leave that for a second for you guys to get a hold of. Sorry about the flashing. And what is that? 90 minus 20 would be 70, but minus another 5 would be 65. So I'm going to get 65 over 4. I know, sorry Kathleen, I don't know why my screen is flashing black every so often. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think I just had to restart. OneNote's being a jerk. Okay, so now that's our slope, right? So I am going to write out my equation. My equation is, and again, it's going to flash or it's going to go black, so bear with me here. Y equals 65 over 4, because that's our m, x plus b, which is minus 20. So there you go. There's our equation. Now it says predict the amount at month 11. And now to me, it looks like 11 goes up, up, up. And you could look here and my crappy prediction could be, I don't know, 170. But you could also put in 11 into here. So if I take out my calculator, and I'm going to do that with my actual calculator. Calculator, see you later. So I'm going to go 65 divided by 4. 65 divided by 4 is this. And then I'm going to times by 11, which is this. And I'm going to subtract 20, which is this. So I get 160. Is that about right? Well, not really, based on our crappy line. So we've done a little bit weird, but it's a pretty good estimation. So I would say use the equation to predict your values for month 11. So we didn't get a perfect y-intercept, and we did get a perfect slope, though, ish. I know we kind of rounded that to be 25, but that looked to be exactly 90, right, halfway through. So again, our prediction was 158.75, and that was when, again, ready for the flashing. It's going to go crazy. All I'm going to do is take my x value, which it says for month 11, months are x. I'm going to put the x value in here, and then this should be my answer if you guys are using your calculator, right? So y is equal to 65 over 4 times 11 minus 20, and that's going to be equal to this 158.75. Now, maybe some of you, right, if you, again, it's going crazy, but maybe some of you are able to get a better answer than that because you did your line differently than me. And if you did your line differently than me, that's awesome. Okay, team, let me just take a look at those questions at the bottom there. It's only 1 to 6, and you still have a half hour left, but let me just see if there's anything that's useless. I guess actually I can show you on here, can't I? Hey, hockey. Okay, so 1 to 6, 1 to 6, 1 to 6. Where are you? All right, so 1 is pretty easy. You just literally like look at the line, and they already drew the line of best fit for you, right? Okay, so 2 and 3 are pretty well the same thing, as well as 4, 5, and 6. So I don't think we need to do all of those. I would say pick 2. Okay, that's my goal. So do number 1. Number 1's going to be easy, and then 2 to 6. Oh, and that's funny. From 2 to 6, I want you to just pick like 2 of them, okay? Because you still have a half hour left. So pick the ones that sound the most interesting. So if you're like, ooh, temperatures, that sounds interesting. Or if you're like, okay, this is males enrolled at a health club, okay? This one is... hours studied and their final mark. Wowza. For their exam, I guess. That's super interesting. This one's a chair company. I'm sure you guys are pretty pumped to learn about chair companies. Ooh, track and field. Look at boys in shorts that are like from like the 30s. That's terrible. I love that all the schools, they got the same colored shorts, but those 2 schools got different colored jerseys. It's like they just like distributed everyone the same shorts. It's like, okay, we all got to have these awful blue colored shorts, but you guys, we're just going to give you a different jersey. Great hair, though, on the fellas. Hey, look at that. Great hair. Honestly, the blue team's got significantly better hair. Sadie says, stop trying to make this better. Anyways, okay, yeah, pick a couple of them. Pick a couple of those, and it'll be good. All right.
Just basically the idea is that you're drawing a scatter plot, and then coming up with the line. So remember, I saw a couple people complaining that they don't have graph paper. If you need graph paper in OneNote, remember, this is the way you do it. You just go up here to View, and then you go to Rule Lines, and then choose Grid Lines, and then you've got graph paper. And maybe you want it smaller, so you go, okay, Rule Lines, and then choose the smaller graph paper, right? Wow. Those of you little turds that didn't take notes today, you're lucky, because clearly I just did all of this in the collaboration space. I'm surprised that no one played a practical joke on me while I was drawing. Good for you guys. Very mature. Anyways, I'm going to cut that out of there before people do, and I'm going to put it in the content library where y'all can't mess with me, and I'll put it in rubrics. Yeah, it is all about hair. Anyways, guys, take it easy. You got a bit of time left. You got 25 minutes here to work through that. You can still steal my note. It's just in the rubrics thing. But yeah, tricked you into doing the note. Yeah, you can't mess with me. You can't write in OneNote. Yeah, so you're saying secretly that was you all along, eh, Sam? All right, guys, feel free to message me in Teams. However, I do need to restart my computer, so I'm going to do that. Actually, I can probably wait to restart my computer till after this class is over. I'll do it during that hour break in between period 1 and 2. Hopefully it doesn't hate me there. So I'll answer your questions in Teams, and then we'll rock and roll from there. Cool. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.